My name is Scarsella, and today I will be sharing a three-part presentation for my final field-based activity for my Schools and Society course. Today I will be explaining proposition number 3, teachers are responsible for managing and monitoring student learning. Trend 7, the percentage of American children living in families with incomes below the poverty line has increased continuously. Nearly 1 in 5 children are poor today. I chose to research field-based activity choice 3, examine Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and explain how his concepts impact a student's ability to learn, as well as support the need for teachers to pay particular attention to these factors. The first article, Personality Theories, Abraham Maslow, by George Boeree, discusses Maslow's theory in depth. One of the many interesting things Maslow noticed while he worked with monkeys early in his career was that some needs take precedent over others. For example, if you are hungry and thirsty, you will tend to take care of the thirst first. Maslow took this idea and created his famous hierarchy of needs. The chart is pictured here on the screen. As you can see, he laid out 5 broad layers. Starting at the bottom, we have the physiological needs. Working our way up next is the needs for safety and security, the needs for love and belonging, the needs for esteem, and the need to actualize the self. Let's briefly review each layer. First are the physiological needs. These include the needs we have for oxygen, water, protein, salt, sugar, calcium, other vitamins and minerals. They also include maintaining a pH balance and temperature. Also, there are needs to be active, to rest, to sleep, to get rid of waste, and to avoid pain. Next are the safety and security needs. When the physiological needs are largely taken care of, this layer comes next. You will become increasingly interested in finding safe circumstances, stability, and protection. You might also develop a need for structure and order. This is similar to American people preparing for retirement, having insurance, living in safe communities, and so on. When physiological needs and safety needs are taken care of, the third layer, belonging needs, appears. You begin to feel the need for friends, a sweetheart, children, and affectionate relationships in general. Next, we move to self-esteem. There are 2 layers of self-esteem. The lower one is the need for the respect of others, the need for status, fame, glory, recognition, attention, reputation, and appreciation. The higher form involves the need for self-respect. This includes feelings such as confidence, competence, achievement, independence, mastery, and freedom. All of these needs Maslow called deficit needs, or D needs. If you don't have enough of something, you have a deficit and feel those needs. But if you get all you need, you don't feel anything at all. These needs cease to be motivating. Maslow saw all these needs as essential survival skills. Boeree explains that under certain stressful conditions, or when survival is threatened, we can regress to a lower need level. These things can occur on a society basis as well. When society suddenly flounders, people start clamoring for a strong leader to take over and make things right. When the bombs start falling, they look for safety. When the food stops coming into the stores, their needs become even more basic. What is really important is that Maslow believes if you have significant problems along your development, a period of extreme insecurity or hunger as a child, or the loss of a family member through death or divorce, or significant neglect or abuse, you may fixate on that set of needs for the rest of your life. The last level, self-actualization, is different from the others. Maslow called this level growth motivation, or being needs. Once these needs are engaged, they are continually felt. They involve the continuous desire to fulfill potentials. To reach this level, the lower level needs must be met. When lower needs are unmet, you cannot fully devote yourself to fulfilling your potentials. Maslow suggested that only 2% of the world is in the self-actualizing stage. These people are reality-centered, problem-centered, enjoy autonomy, resist enculturation, and value humility and respect towards others. The second article I researched is titled Maslow's Hierarchy and Social and Emotional Well-Being by Don Gorman. Gorman uses research conducted by Zelenka and Raspa to explain. The description of the person at each level gives some indication of the increasing importance of culture to the explanation of how these needs can be met. For example, safety needs are in part determined by law and order. What constitutes an acceptable way of ensuring safety is defined by society, and the values that underlie those definitions are determined by cultural values and beliefs. Gorman argues that there is a relationship between Maslow's hierarchy of needs and a person's social and emotional well-being. To achieve a higher level of social and emotional well-being, one must be able to fulfill one's lower level needs. He believes, whilst it is not necessary to remain in a constant state of self-actualization, it is necessary to be able to achieve it at times, to know that it is possible to reach one's potential. In addition, if culture enables us to determine our roles and enables us to internalize ideals, then it also enables us to make judgments about what behaviors are appropriate and what are not. Gorman argues that people who have been disconnected from their culture are likely to be constrained to the lower levels of motivation. They would find it difficult to go beyond the first level of survival needs. In conclusion, he stated, people are motivated to participate in activities that they perceive as helping them to meet their needs. If education is not perceived as meeting a need, then there will be little motivation to strive for a higher level of education. Through a conversation with my field educator, Mrs. Somerville, I learned that she has seen students who have not risen above the first two levels. Mrs. Somerville shared that she had a student who was mentally abused throughout her childhood, and therefore her confidence was shattered. She always second-guessed herself and undermined her thoughts, said Mrs. Somerville. She said that it broke her heart because the student was so bright, but it took a lot of time to try to break her out of her shell. She noticed vast improvements in her class when she worked with her, but other teachers weren't willing to stay after school to tutor her or provide assistance in any way, so the girl continued on this path and barely managed to graduate from high school. Mrs. Somerville said that students like this one should be identified early and be provided with programs that can help stimulate growth and uncover potential. In addition, when Mrs. Somerville worked in a brick-and-mortar school, she said her school district had a latchkey program where students could stay after school in a safe environment that fostered learning. She stated, "Many kids go home to no one and to absolutely nothing. There is nothing to eat and no one to communicate with. The latchkey provided a safe place for students after school who didn't have the stability at home after school hours." Unfortunately, at PA Cyber, it is difficult to extend this type of program since everything is online. Finally, Mrs. Somerville shared with me her frustration over the belief that school reform can change everything. Mrs. Somerville stated, "I have grown tired of politicians who have never taught in a school system revamping school laws and regulations. We need people who have worked with struggling poor students to create programs that can actually help and foster student growth and potential. Mrs. Somerville shared that teachers are very important in child's development, but unfortunately there are other factors at home that the school cannot control. After researching Maslow's hierarchy of needs and speaking with my field educator, my first goal is to identify students who are in the lower levels of the hierarchy and work one-on-one with them. I would like to provide them with individualized instruction so that I can help them achieve and succeed. My second goal would be to create a sense of community within my classroom where students feel comfortable sharing their experiences. I would like to build a lot of trust within my students. Finally, my third goal would be to encourage all of my students to reach their full potential and to push them so that they can see that they can reach self-actualization. This concludes my research, learning, and goals for field-based activity number 4. Thank you for listening.